as well. We are working with the train companies and their recovery efforts, and it looks like they're going to be bringing heavy equipment in tonight, starting around midnight. So it's going to be a multi-day effort that we're going to be out there for a while, making sure that the scene is safe, and we again continue to monitor with the company, with our partners from DEEP and the rail company. We've got quite a bit of monitoring, making sure that there is no spill, there is no leak, there is no hazard to the community. As we discussed earlier, as an abundance of precaution, we did put or request people in the immediate area to what we call shelter in place. So it's not an evacuation order, it's more of a keep your windows closed, be aware, be alert, just in case something does happen. Gives us a little bit of extra protection. That's what I've got for that. I'm going to turn it over to Town Manager Ryan Ellsworth.
Town Manager Ryan Ellsworth, Town Manager in Mansfield. I think you can tell by everybody that's behind me, this has been a tremendous show of force that the town of Mansfield enormously appreciates. The local response, the regional response, the statewide response from all our different agency partners. This is why we have mutual aid, and this is why it really takes a team, for any community in their time of need. This was enormously alarming, to say the least. When I learned about this in a meeting this morning, a lot of questions and concerns on the full spectrum of ways that something that went horribly wrong could have gone worse. We're very happy that, as the chief just got done saying, a situation that could have been worse is contained, and at this moment in time, it does not appear that we're going to be dealing with a lot of environmental contamination issues, and obviously addressing the public safety concerns for all the people in the immediate area. We have daycares in the area. Those will be able to operate on time, and families will be safe dropping their kids off tomorrow. So again, this is a tremendous show of support. I want to certainly thank our state legislators that have reached out to me and made themselves available and offered all the resources and help that they can, two of which are here, Representative Haddad and Representative Boyd, but also we were contacted by Senator Murphy's staff and Senator Blumenthal's staff, and just really appreciate all the focus on helping Mansfield, just as we want any community in Connecticut to receive help at a time like this. Subsequent to the earlier briefing this afternoon, I did issue a local declaration of emergency, and so that is now in effect, and largely doing that so that we can hopefully be able to obtain as needed any resources, subsequent resources needed to help with the spill response and any cleanup effort that's needed. We've also opened a virtual Emergency Operations Center, resources and information available to residents who have questions. So I just want to thank certainly all the members of our local fire and emergency service, again, all of our mutual aid partners, all the state agencies and elected officials that have been brought to bear on this very challenging issue. Couldn't be more grateful for the support that the town has received. So I think we're going to open up to questions now, and I want to especially thank the commissioner for being here and speaking this all today. So thank you.
Does that shelter in place remain in effect?
Yeah, it's not. There's not a specific time frame at the viewing.
So yeah, so it's going to remain in effect for right now. The thought was until we get those the recovery crews on site and they can assess the stability of the cars. We're just doing that as an abundance of precaution. So people still need to get kids from daycare, things like that in the area. We're allowing them to come in and get things like that. But just keeping the windows closed and having kind of an extra sense of alertness to what's going on. The state police and helping with emergency management, our partners there, they've got a way, they're able to communicate with those that are in the area. Luckily, it's not a heavily population density area. It's kind of out in the middle of some rural area. So we're able to get we've got a good handle on who's in that area, and if we need to communicate with them, the emergency management team, the partners that we have here are standing by and can get word out if they need to.
So will this be a 24/7 operation to start? Now, our station wanted to know, is there any contingency plans for the weekend? Because it's supposed to be like terribly cold, for safety for the crews.
We're looking at that right now. We've got probably over 100 responders on the scene right now. We've got partners. Obviously, UConn was great in town, so they were a great asset, and they've been helping us out tremendously. But regionally, we've got tremendous assistance with the regional mutual aid. We've got rehab teams there, so they've got warming trailers, warming buses, canteens on site. So we are looking at the responders, but yes, we are preparing that this is going to be a prolonged multi-day event. We are also coordinating with DOT and the state DEMIS with weather forecasting based on, we are looking at, is it going to snow in the time frame that we're looking to still be operating.
Do you think this will take perhaps as long as a week? I mean, this is a big cleanup.
Oh, sure. So it's really going to get a better sense of that later tonight when the recovery team from the rail company, they're coming from Maryland and Pennsylvania right now. When they get the specialists on scene, they're really going to be the ones that can determine how long this is going to take. And I would defer to the rail if they've got a sense of there. But it's really going to be their operation, and they're going to set the pace and the tempo. And to be honest, I think the weather's going to play a part of that. So if we can get it done before the weather, great. If not, we may actually take a pause and let the weather come through and then do it when it's safe after. We don't want to risk anybody's safety trying to do this in the snowstorm.
Do we know where the train originated and where it was headed?
That would be a question for the rail company. I do not. I just know it was southbound.
Yeah, it originated out of Palmer, Massachusetts. Yeah, Brian McLean with New England Central Railroad. Palmer, Massachusetts, it originated and was heading down toward Willimantic, Connecticut.
Thank you.
Yep.
Is the priority recovery right now, and investigation happens after? Does it happen simultaneously?
Right now, it's stabilization is our priority. So the cars that were on the tracks, we want to stabilize them, make sure they don't fall over, make sure nothing rolls. Leak containment. So we had that one train that was leaking grease, the animal grease. We want to make sure that leak is stopped, contained, and secured. We want to make sure nothing gets into the waterway. So that's the primary focus right now. We call this operational period. Then the next process is going to be kind of stabilization, worrying about the train. Federal and DOT do have rail inspectors on site, and so they're coordinating and making sure that they're working with the railroad, make sure they're following their protocols in response to a train accident.
And one more for the town manager. How much does an incident like this cost? And who incurs the cost? Is it the town or is it the train company?
Yeah, I think right now it's too preliminary to start talking about that. I mean, obviously, our focus is on doing the cleanup or the recovery as thoroughly as possible, making sure the situation is contained. When it comes to questions like that, there'll be a process to determine who bears responsibility for different things. So as the chief said, what our focus is on now, we'll worry about the rest when it comes. But certainly, we'll be doing everything as a town to make sure that our interests and our residents' interests are protected.
Sorry if I missed it before, if you repeat yourself. So the one car that is leaking animal grease, is that one that's in the water or is that one that's on the land?
That one was on land, and that leak has been stopped. So they've stopped the leak, so it's not leaking anymore, but right now they're trying to clean up what product did already spill.
And is there any, was it contained area? Is that a place that might have any effects? Is that something you figured out?
It's contained, but we're still close. It's very close to the waterway, so we're just trying to be very cautious. With the crews, we have to be careful to make sure they don't slip and fall and end up in the water as well. So.
And as far as the cars with the petroleum, so far those all seem stable? Any reason to think there might be a leak so far?
Nope, they carry propane, liquid propane, and it does not appear to be any leaks from those train cars at this time. And again, we've got crews monitoring with each of the train cars that are damaged on site, so they've got a number of meters and air sampling taking place continuously.
And will that continue until they're removed?
Yeah, they're going to continue until the site is secured.
I know you said before, obviously concerned with the gas, the fact that there is no odor, there is no smell. Is there anything people should be looking out for to know, like anything they would know that might be triggered an alarm, like, hey, there might be something going on here?
You're not going to, to your point, you're right, you're not going to smell it, which is why we've got the meters in place right there all around the cars. So if there's, and we've got meteorologists on site as well, thanks to the state of Connecticut. So they're tracking the wind, the weather, the patterns, things like that, and we're keeping a very close eye on that. And so hopefully we would detect it, and then if any of the meters got any type of alert, that's when we already have plans in place to notify people in the area.
I know it's still very early. Are there any kind of early indications that what could cause it? I know this is kind of the time to
At this point, it's way too early to even speculate on something like that.
Do you want to speak again about the no-fly zone? Because I know you don't want anybody to think I have their drone or...
Correct, yeah, so there is a temporary flight restrictions in place over the incident site. That is in place that way. Currently, the DEP, the state police have their drones up, as well as one of the environmental contractors has drones up. And so again, we just don't want to make sure that none of our drones or our assets run into anybody else. We don't want to have an incident on top of an incident to say. So we did put that in place for everybody's safety. We are using the drones extensively right now to kind of fly along the train and take pictures, especially out over the water where some we can't get to easily. So they can get some good pictures and good identification of exactly what product is and make sure there's no leaks. So that's why we have the flight restriction in place.
Is it safe to characterize this whole incident? I think I overheard someone say when I walked in, could have been a lot worse. I mean, this is very serious, not taking away from the response, but this is something that could have been catastrophic that isn't.
I mean, I would say, absolutely. This is adjacent to a large river, the Willimantic River. So any number of things from an environmental contamination standpoint could have happened if we were talking about, multiple cars carrying liquid propane discharging into the river, which was obviously the first and foremost, concern in addition to public safety, that we would have some sort of spill like that and what the aftermath would look like. So right now, based on the information we have, it seems that we got very fortunate in that respect. But Mansfield's a community with cherished natural resources, and so we feel very fortunate that a situation that could have been a lot worse was in fact more contained.
It looks like some of the cars had like wheels and axles come off of them. Is that common with this, or what kind of
Yeah, it's typical for a derailment of this magnitude, and that's all part of the recovery effort to build those wheels and trucks back up and place the cars themselves back onto the track as we work through the next couple of days here.
Okay, we're good? Thank you.
Anything else planned for today or no? Any other press conferences planned for today?
No more press conferences.
I don't think for today.
Commissioner.
Okay, sometimes no news is good news. Granted, we did get some updates there, but it still appears that the train derailment situation in Mansfield is stable. Now, Ryan Aylesworth, the Mansfield town manager, I think probably summed up the mood in the room pursuant to that last question that you just asked when he said the initial reports of what happened were enormously alarming in his words, but ultimately he said the situation could have been worse, but it is contained. And it certainly could have been worse from a public safety perspective and from an environmental perspective. So, again, we know there's a train derailment. There were a number of cars that derailed. 13 of them, I think, in total left the tracks in some form, many of them carrying liquid propane rolled over, but the propane has not spilled. The only spill was about 2,500 gallons of cooking grease, thankfully. Now, they did mention the shelter-in-place order is still there, but they stressed it was out of an abundance of caution. So what that means is everybody within a half mile of that derailment, which was right next to Route 32 in between South Eagleville Road and Route 44, they're asking people to stay inside. They're not ordering them to. They said there's daycares in the area. If you need to go get your kid, you can go out there and go drive. But when you get home, stay inside and just keep the windows closed, because the propane that's in those tanks has not had that rotten egg additive that's added to it, because otherwise propane is an odorless gas, and should it escape, they don't want it to get into your house. But it is not escaping. They said they've got propane sensors out there. They've got meteorologists checking the wind. By the way, the vapors that come off it, if it does spill, tend to be heavier than air, so they would stick to the ground. And being that it's right next to a pond, it's in a hollow. So as of right now, the big takeaway, the big effect for a lot of the people in the area is that closure of Route 32 from Route 44 down to South Eagleville Road. This is about 2 miles southwest of the center of the UConn campus. A lot of people use that road in part to get to the campus, but there are plenty of ways around it. That being said, that road is going to be closed, they said, for the rest of today, probably for tomorrow too, as they bring in a lot of heavy equipment. And when are they going to know that the situation is indeed stable and safe? They said they're bringing in experts from Maryland and Pennsylvania, some hazard spill experts coming up. They should be here tonight. So hopefully that shelter-in-place suggestion, well, it's an order, but really more of a suggestion at this point, might be lifted sometime later tonight or early tomorrow morning. We're going to have a lot more on this derailment. Obviously, it's the big story in Connecticut. Coming up on the Fox 61 News at 5 and 6 and streaming on Fox 61 Plus at 7 o'clock. I'm Tim Lammers. Have a good afternoon. We'll see you in about 40 minutes. Bye.